Hey, 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 hey. Okay, just we trying to get it together in terms of like the technical difficulties, but we are here. Oh, I'm so excited about this class, y'all. It's been a long time coming, and I definitely know that this class is going to bless your life. I am Dr. Kiki Ramsey, and we are going to be talking about the three most important questions that will help you discover your purpose in life. And here's the thing, I know a thing or two about discovering purpose. I had to go through my own journey of what that looked like, and it's going to be no different for you of this journey that we're going to talk about today. And so, if you're not familiar with me, Dr. Kiki Ramsey. I had a very, very difficult upbringing. I grew up on the couch, sleeping on a couch in the crack house. My mom was addicted to drugs, love her so much, but she had her struggles. And I'll just say this, we all have struggles. We all have our own struggles. And this was just her struggle. But her struggle was ultimately my struggle as well, because I had to, deal with her and all of the things that she went through in her life, and it was difficult. And so I grew up, in this very difficult situation. But for me, I always knew that there was purpose. I always knew that I had a purpose in life. And I didn't know exactly what that purpose was, but I knew that God had created me for something amazing. And the truth is, He has created you for something amazing. And it is your job to figure out what that is. And so I went on a journey of discovery, of trying to figure out what in the world was my life made for. And the most beautiful thing happened while I was on this self discovery phase. I really figured out that ultimately my purpose was born out of all the pain that I had gone through in my lifetime. And it may be the same for you, is that it has been born out of so much pain that you've gone through, but you just can't necessarily see it. And so I wanted to come here and give you three of the most important questions that I feel like you can ask yourself in order to discover your purpose in life. And these are questions that, number one, I had to ask myself. And number two, these are questions that truly, truly has helped hundreds of my clients, my coaching clients, discover their true purpose in life as well. Because here's the thing, when you know your purpose in life, life gets so much better. When you know your purpose in life, things get so much easier. You get, you can make more money. You can have more time freedom. There's so many things that can come about when you actually know your purpose in life. And I've actually come up with an entire list of what I call passion driven and purpose driven questions. You can get that entire list if you go to drkiki.com, and you can download that list. And when I tell you these questions, right? These are just, so first of all, I'm an executive coach. So I'm a career coach. I have helped thousands of people really up level in their career. So these questions were curated not only by my profession, because I've been doing this for over 15 years, but also these questions have been curated from just my own background, what I had to do to find my purpose in life. I'll tell you this, I used to sit and I used to cry. I used to cry so hard because I felt like I didn't know my purpose in life. I felt like I didn't know my calling. And it was so difficult at times for me because I knew that I was made for something greater. I just didn't know what that was. Right. And that may be the same for you. If you're joining me live, go ahead and drop your name and where you're tuning in from in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. But it was just so amazing for me to like go through this process and try to figure it out. But it was also so heartbreaking and it was so difficult because I would cry all the time trying to figure this thing out. But like I said to you, my purpose was born out of um a lot of fear, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, and then ultimately a lot of joy. And I'm going to, share that with you during this class today because I really want you to think about your own life and some of the things that you're going through, and that's going to fuel your purpose in life. But before we jump in, I really want to go over my definition of purpose and my acronym, right? I created an acronym. And if you don't know, I wrote a book. It's called Get Courageous Now, A Woman's Guide to Finding Her Passions and Purpose in Life. And you can get this on Amazon. And and the passion driven and the purpose driven questions are also in this book. But I also wrote an acronym for purpose because I really felt like people needed to understand what purpose truly is. And the truth is, you all have purpose. All of us, we have purpose. We were made for a purpose and we all have purpose. And I want to go over this what I consider to be purpose because I think it's important for you to know as we go through and we talk about these three questions that I want you to ask yourself, right? So you're going to have homework. The homework is you asking yourself these questions and then really digging deep to come up with the answers for this. And so, but let's go over purpose first. So P stands for proclaim the promise of God in your life. Proclaim the promise of God in your life. So what I say is a lot of times we hold back what we're feeling or dreaming because we're scared to profess to the world for fear of judgment. Isn't that so true? We are so scared of what people have to say about our dreams and hopes that we actually hold it inside. We don't tell anybody, which I think is so crazy. A lot of times what I hear people saying is, Dr. Kiki, if I tell people, then people are going to steal my idea. Ciao, bye. Ain't nobody listen. If it's not in their heart to do, people not just gonna steal your idea. People don't just pick up other people's random ideas and say, oh, that's my purpose in life. And so I'm going to steal that idea. That's not how it works, right? It's got to be given to you. What's yours is yours. Like, and I truly believe that, which is the reason why, even on the Dr. Kiki Ramsey show, my podcast, I have coaches come on all the time, and people are like, "You're not scared that they'll take your business?" No. Why? Why would I be scared about that? If anything, we can collaborate with each other. If anything, what's theirs is theirs, and what's mine is mine. But there's enough room at the top. So you need to proclaim the promises of God in your life. And here's what I also say. It says in Jeremiah 29:11, which is my favorite verse, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a future and a hope. God has already planned for you to have a future and a hope. He's already done that for you. Like he knows every hair on your head. He understands every thought. He hears every prayer. He hears every cry. He knows the plans. He has big and amazing plans for you. It is your job and your opportunity to believe that. So that's number one. That's P. You must proclaim the promise of God in your life because it's there. You unlock the dreams inside of you. Unlock the dreams inside of you. It's time to dig deep and discover the dreams that are inside of you. I know that they are there. Most of us have dreams, but we are too scared to unlock them for fear that they may not happen. But here's the thing. You got to put that fear aside, take that padlock off your dreams because we're going into a new year. It is absolutely time for us and for you to start dreaming again. Listen, I coach so many women, right? And it amazes me in a lot of our sessions how many tears I get when it comes to just me talking about their dreams, because so many times we really put our dreams back on the back burner. And I think that that is so tragic for us because we're so scared that they won't actually work, that we then stop dreaming, right? We won't we stop dreaming. So today, what I want you to do is I want you to unlock the dreams. It's time for you to start dreaming again, because that's the real only way that you're going to really tap into your purpose, is that you start dreaming again. Because without that, how are you supposed to tap into what God has made you to do? Okay? R is recognize that you were made for greatness. Every la- Listen, every last one of you. If you are under the sound of my voice, you were made for greatness. Period. Greatness is in each and every one of you. It's in all of us. And it is so time for you to stop playing small. We are going into a new year. It is time for you to stop playing small. It's time for you to step up and take up your mantle and really play big. Play like you know that you matter. Okay? P, pursue your passions. We're going to talk about that today. When it comes to our questions, a lot of women downplay what they're passionate about because we look at other people. We try to look around and see what other people are, passionate about and everything like that. That doesn't have anything to do with you. The only thing that you need to do is figure out what you're passionate about. It doesn't matter what other people are passionate about. It only matters what you're passionate about. And we're going to talk about that. O is overcome whatever challenges come your way. Because guess what? You know, without a shadow of a doubt, that challenges are coming. You might be sitting in the midst of a challenge right now. You may be sitting in the midst of a challenge, and that's okay, because when it comes to your purpose, you will figure out how to overcome that challenge. It is time. S, serve the world with your gifts. It is time for you to serve the world with the gifts that you actually have, because each of us has superpowers. We all have superpowers. So it's time to serve the world with your gifts. And then E, embrace the life you were meant to live. With E, it's always interesting because I always think about that one in terms of abundance. So many of us don't believe in abundance. So many of us think that everybody is out here struggling. That's not the truth. Everybody is not struggling. Let me say it again. There are so many people out here in the world who are not struggling. I believe in thriving. I believe that we all have the ability to thrive and not struggle. And so this is your time to learn how to embrace the life that you were meant to live. If you are not living the life that you want to live right now it's time for you to embrace that life. I had to go through all of these things when it was time for me to truly discover my purpose in life. And here's the thing. I struggled with what I thought that was. And then once I really figured it out, I was like, wow. It was always right in front of my face. And it's probably always right in front of your face as well. So, without further ado, let's hop into these questions. And like I said, there are more purpose-driven and passion-driven questions in my book, which is called Get Courageous Now, Woman's Guide to Finding Her Passions and Purpose in Life. Or you can actually go to Amazon and get it, or you can go on my website and download the book, this chapter for free. So I want to say that. But here are the three that I think are the most fitting, and the reason why I think that it's so important for you to understand these questions, because they have led so many of my clients to their purpose in life. So, and let me just say this one last thing about purpose. Ultimately, right, when it comes to purpose, ultimately, your purpose is to help someone else succeed, right? Like, we were all placed on earth to be a beacon of light for somebody else. Boom. That's your purpose, right? Here's what happens though. What we get confused with is the vehicle. That's what I call it. I call it the vehicle, right? We all have a purpose to help others be great, to succeed, to make somebody else's life better. That's your ultimate purpose in life. That's why you were placed here. But the vehicle looks different for all of us. And what do I mean by that? So, me, Dr. Kiki Ramsey, my vehicle is teaching like this. Like, I teach, I'm a coach, I'm a professor, I write books, I have a podcast, I speak at conferences, all of those ways of me disseminating my purpose to help others. Those are my vehicles in which to do it. Some of us are fortunate enough that our job, your current job, is your vehicle in which to disseminate your purpose into the world, right? Not everybody is that fortunate. But here's what I always tell people. If you are not that fortunate to have your job be your vehicle for your purpose, you still have to find the vehicle. You still have to find a way to actually disseminate your purpose into the world. Like you don't have a choice. Like if you're not walking in your purpose, then you're not living truly to your fullest capability. So I will say that. So I wanted to say that about purpose because I want you to understand that your purpose is to help people, but the vehicle changes for everybody, right? It's not the same for everybody. Okay. So let's dig into question number one that I think is one of the most important questions that you need to ask yourself in order to discover your purpose in life. And that is, what makes you cry? What makes you angry? What makes you so sick to your stomach that you can't stand it? Your purpose may lie rooted in that, whatever that is. And I'm going to give you an example. I told y'all in the beginning that I grew up sleeping on a couch in a crack house while my mom was, upstairs getting high. And it was a very, very difficult situation. And the one thing that got me through that time is that when I was around 10 years old, I was sitting on a couch in the crack house and I made a promise to myself. I made a promise that no matter what bad things happened in my life, I was going to be successful. I mean, I'm 10. I don't really know what success is, like, seriously. However, I knew that there was something greater than this. I knew that there was something bigger than me sitting on a couch or sleeping on a couch in a crack house. Like, I knew that couldn't be it. Lord, this can't be it. Okay? This can't be it. I know some of y'all have asked yourself that question before. This can't be it. And that was me. And so I grew up that way. And as I grew up that way, I always wanted to help my mom with her addiction. I wanted to help her not struggle so hard with her addiction. And so I would help her get into rehab. And it would work for a little while. And then it didn't. And then I would help her again. And it would work. And then it did it. And so it was just this back and forth, thing in my life. And then I ended up going to college. Thank God, right? I was able to go to college. Shout out to Berea College in Kentucky, my alma mater. But I was able and blessed to go to college. And I went to college. I actually, started majoring in business, but I ultimately changed to child development and family studies because I wanted to figure out how to help my mom get off of drugs because that was the thing that made me cry. That was the thing that hurt me the most in my life was that my mom had succumbed to an addiction. And if any of you know anything about addiction, you would know that it is hard. It is difficult. And I knew that my mom didn't want to be in that place. But I also knew that addiction was so hard. Now, these are things that I had to learn over time. right? I was angry. I was mad a lot of the times. And so I ain't gonna even hold you, right? Like so much of the time I was mad at my mom, but I also knew that she loved me. And I also knew that the thing was hard. I even thinking about addiction right now, right? Like I think about me and sugar. Child, baby, try to take some chocolate chip cookies from me. Okay. Like I'm having a difficult time, right? I'm going through my own withdrawal. So I understand it more now than I did then. But back then, I just wanted to help her get off of drugs. That's the thing that made me cry. And so you may be going through some things that, or you've seen some things, you'd be like, oh my God, I hate that. That makes me so angry. And you're looking for somebody else to do the thing that you should be doing, that you are called to do. If it hurts you enough, then maybe it is your calling on life. Now, I'm not saying that everything that hurts us, we gotta, that's our calling in life. But I'm telling you, I've coached so many women through this one question right here, and it has revealed so much about what they were supposed to be doing. So I went to school, I majored in child development and family studies. And over that time, I was helping my mom, with her addiction and everything like that. I ultimately graduated and I went to school to get an MSW. I went to UGA, go Bulldogs, and I got a master's in social work. And then I started doing internships where I was helping other women, drug addiction, homelessness, all of that. Get off of, find resources, all of those things. And guess what? It turned into a love and a purpose and a passion in my life to ultimately help women succeed. Mm. I would not have, though, figured out my purpose in life, which is to help other women succeed and thrive in their life, had I not been so vigilant about helping my own mother get off of drugs. That's the thing that hurt me so much. And I mean, even still to this day, I hate to see women struggle because I believe that we are some of the most brilliant beings on the face of this planet. But yet, we struggle so much. Sometimes we struggle and are just not even able to get out of our own way. For whatever reason, we are trying to take care of everybody else but ourselves. So we getting sick. We are, not making the kind of money that we deserve because we're not willing to go after it, or we're letting people tell us no where we should be trying to push for yes. We are trying to please everybody under the sun and worried about what everybody got to say, but us, and taking our own advice and doing the things that we know we need to do ourselves. So, what makes you cry? What makes you so angry that you are willing to do something about it? It truly does matter. And it can lead you to your purpose in life. Okay? So that's question, one of the questions, right? Question number one. Question number two, what are you great at? What is your biggest strength, AKA your superpower? What's your biggest strength, AKA your superpower? Here's why I ask you this, right? Because so many times I see us working from a deficit model. So I'm a positive psychologist. And what that means is I study strengths, happiness, all the things that work together for our good, right? So many times we are only thinking about the negative, what hurts us, or the negative in the sense of like what skills we don't have, where we need to grow, and versus thinking about what skills we already have and what things are we already great at. Let me just tell you, you are phenomenal at something. You are phenomenal at something. You truly are. And to me, based on all my years of experience, that something that you're phenomenal at is rooted in your purpose in life. It truly is. I can remember. Okay, here's the thing. I have always been a talker. I can't help it. I've always been a talker. And I can remember in high school, my English teacher, her name was Mrs. Anderson. That was my maiden name. So we really had a bond going on with each other. She came to me one day and she said, Kiki, you talk a lot. And I was like, Miss Anderson, I know. She said, listen, the Council for Prevention of Teen Pregnancy. Now, by this time, I had my first child at 17 years old. So I'm in high school in the 11th grade and I have a baby. So she was like, you talk a lot. And I was like, I know. She said, but the prevention of teen pregnancy, they want you to go around to all of the schools in the county and talk about how difficult it is to become pregnant at such a young age. And I'm like, oh, why would I do that? Like, why would I do that? And she was like, well, if you do it, they will pay for your daycare. And I'm like, baby, sign me up. Like, first of all, any parents out there, any mothers, fathers, you know how hard it is. You know how difficult it is to pay for daycare. I'm 17. So it is extremely expensive to pay for daycare. And I still want to be in school and all those things. So I said, sign me up. So here's the thing that happened. When I was going around, now these are my peers. Y'all know how hard it can be to be around your peers. I'm a teenager. So it can be very, very brutal out there in high school. So any of y'all have high school students and stuff like that, y'all know, and you've been in high school yourself. So you know how brutal it can be. So I was super nervous, of course, to be able to go out to all these, and it was different schools. It wasn't just my school, it was different schools, and talk to sex education classes about the hardships of getting pregnant at such a young age, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, right? So I started doing it. And a funny thing happened. My peers started telling me how my story has truly affected them and changed their life. And I was like, really? And I'm like, huh. So this gift of gab, that's what my mama used to call it, that I got the gift of gab, right? This gift of gab is actually helping people change their life. What? Like, huh? And so I realized that words truly do matter. Communication changes lives. I learned that at 17 years old. And I also learned, honey, that you get paid for speaking, because that was my first real paid speaking job, because they paid for my daycare, right? So I didn't know all of this before then. So I started speaking using my words, my gift, at 17 years old. And guess what? I'm still using my gift to pour into the lives of women every single day right now. And I've made a career out of it. And it's been beautiful. And so instead of me thinking of my gift of, gab, as my mom used to call it, me talking all the time was a negative, Miss Anderson single-handedly showed me how it was a positive. And y'all know I have a daughter right now. And Mackenzie Jade, honey, she is much like her mother. Okay? She has the gift as well. And so when I realized that she had the gift, and that she wasn't thriving in her old school, I had to change her to a new school, because I wanted for this gift to not be seen as a weakness, but as a gift. So now she's in a performing arts school where she can see that her talking is not always a negative. Now, yes, she need to be quiet when she's in classroom and she need to do her work. But there's other ways, drama class, all these classes that she can take now, that she now knows that this thing, communication, is a gift. So I asked you, what is your gift? Stop working from a place of weakness. It drives me crazy. Like, if you're not good at it, how is it supposed to be your purpose in life? How are you supposed to? And I know, like, I get it, right? I'm a coach. I coach people on, up leveling every day, right? Some of the things that we need to up level on. I get that. That's fine. But you also have strengths that you probably haven't really harnessed for your purpose in life. So mine is the gift of communication, right? That is my strength. That is my superpower. So what is yours? There are so many assessments out there, right? That you can take. I like the VIA Strengths Assessment, VIA Character Strengths Assessment. You can look that up, and it's a free assessment that you can take. It's character strengths though, and so I love those. Like my one of my top strengths is zest. Like I always tell people, baby, I'm gonna show up zesty because I don't have a choice. It's just in me to be able to show up for life. Like I love life. I get high off of life. I'm gonna show up zesty, right? It helps me. But there is the Clifton Strengths Finder. There's so many different assessments that you can take so that you can try to pin down your strengths and really use that to horn in on the vehicle that's gonna take you to serving other people. That's what you got to do. And then the very last question that I think can shed some light on your purpose is this one. When you were younger, what did you want to become when you grew up? When you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up? What activities did you like back then? Thank you, Mendila, for joining me, and Veronica for joining me. I love it, y'all. If y'all are here with me live, go ahead and drop your name in the chat or drop a comment. I'm here. And if you have a question too, drop your questions in the chat as well. So here we go. When you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up? What activities did you like back then? Here, listen, I know this may seem like a simple question, but I'm going to tell you. This question has unlocked so much for my clients. One client in particular, I love her. We're friends now. This is my girl. We met at a church function. And as she was leaving, we were just chatting it up. She was asking me what I did for a living. I told her I was an executive career coach. And she's like, oh my God, I need you because I need to, make some changes in my career. And I was like, okay, fine, great. Let's chat. So we ended up getting on the phone a little bit later. And she told me what she wanted to do. She wanted to change some things up in her career, find something that she was more passionate about, and find her purpose in life. And I said, okay, great. Let's coach. So we went into coaching together. And then one of our sessions, I was going through the purpose-driven and passion-driven questions with her. We came across this question right here. I said, so tell me, what is it that you wanted to be when you were younger? She said, I wanted to be a child psychologist. I was like, oh. Now, mind you, at the time, she was in pharmaceutical sales. So she was a pharmaceutical sales rep. She was doing pretty good in terms of financial and everything like that, but it just wasn't her passion in life. It wasn't what she wanted to do. So she was in pharmaceutical sales. And I said, oh, a child psychologist, that's a big difference from pharmaceutical sales. She was like, yeah. And I said, okay, so tell me, where's that for you right now? Do you still want to be a child psychologist? She was like, child, no, I don't want to do nothing with no kids. I'm like, feel you. And I said, okay, that's fine. What about psychology though in general? She's like, oh my God, I love psychology. I'd love to do something with psychology and people in the workplace and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to tell you, God is so good, because at that very moment, I was looking at a program going into my PhD to get my PhD in business psychology, which is also known as industrial organizational psychology, which is AKA you work as a psychologist with people in the workplace. Hello, somebody. So I said, well, Have you ever heard of industrial organizational psychology? And she was like, no. I mean, AKA business psychology. She was like, no. I said, it's where you work with people as a psychologist in the workplace around different issues. She was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I got to get off the phone with you. I got to go talk to my husband. I got to, you know what I'm saying? I got to go do some research and stuff like that. So, long story short, she ended up doing her research. We ended up going into the same exact program to get our PhDs, and we made a pact. Me, her, and another one of our friends. We made a pact that we were going to graduate together, come hell or high water, because we all were mothers at the time. As a matter of fact, I ended up getting pregnant with my last and final child while I was in grad school, the very first year. And but we made a pact that we were going to graduate together. And then the pandemic hit, and we still was like, oh, we graduate together. Ain't nothing gonna stop us between a baby, the pandemic. We held on, and we ended up graduating together. All three of us getting our PhDs in business psychology. And she now runs an amazing consulting firm where she works with employee engagement and diversity, equity, and inclusion. She completely changed her life all around. She did a 180 on her life based on this one question that I asked her in our coaching session. What did you want to be when you were younger? Y'all gotta understand, our past leaves clues. It leaves clues. It truly leaves clues. Like, now, granted, when I was younger, I wanted to be a wildlife scientist. Don't ask me. I still love the outdoors though. So I'm still running, I'm still doing all the things. But I think, like, I say that to say that our past still leaves clues. I was speaking even before I knew what speaking was. I was getting paid for speaking before I even knew that speaking was a profession. Now I get paid to go around the world to speak and pour into the lives of people so that I can make somebody else's life better. So I'm going to ask you, what did you want to be when you were younger? Because your past, it leaves clues. I'm not saying that your past dictates your whole future, but I am saying that it leaves clues. So there you have it. The three most important questions that will help you discover your purpose. Now, like I said, there is a whole list of questions. I call them the passion driven and your purpose driven questions that you can get by either downloading my book on Amazon called Get Courageous Now, A Woman's Guide to Finding Her Passions and Purpose in Life, or you can get a free chapter by going to drkiki.com and downloading it that way, where you can get the full list of questions. But these should get you started. So what's your homework? Y'all know I can't leave you without homework, honey. Your homework is to marinate on these questions, to really marinate on these questions in your life, because I'm telling you, they can unlock so much of your purpose. They can unlock so much so that as you go into this new year, you understand why God has placed you on earth. You understand your vehicle, right? You understand that. And like I said before, you have to be walking in your purpose. There is not a scenario on this earth that you can't walk in your purpose. It's what you were meant to do. It's what you were meant to do. All right. So if y'all need further help, I'm here for y'all, right? I also have a community, but I coach you through this very thing. It's called Thrive Society. If you go to kikiramsey.com, you'll see all the information there. And then also, I am having a challenge. It's going to be a 3-day Discover Your Purpose challenge coming up. You can go to drkiki.com to find out all the information about that as well. I'm going to walk out through step by step. But this right here is just to get you started. I love y'all. Y'all know that you have the opportunity to create your own happiness. I hope that this has blessed you as much as it has blessed me. If this has blessed you, please share this class with some of your friends, people who you love and care about. And also subscribe to the channel and hit the like button and make sure that you get the notifications the next time that I go live, which is going to be very, very soon. But get the notifications because I'm going to be doing this all year in 2025 so that you can discover your purpose and make more money doing what you love. All right. Dr. Kiki Ramsey here. Love you guys. Peace.